Welcome everybody, François Le JDR D30, and making a video response to Chalice and Chains is live versus RPG video. And it's just sharing my own experience with that, but in your video you talk about your struggle you have now because you have lots of responsibilities. You have a young kid at home, and yes, it's a big part of the responsibilities, and I know what it is. I have 3 kids myself, and they are not, they are quite young still. So I have lots of things to do with them, lots of care to take, and I know that many people watching these videos can relate to that. And yes, having big life responsibilities gets in the way of letting yourself go when you want to work on your RPG stuff. And you compare that to a work of art, and I totally agree, because sometimes you have something in your head, you want things to be done right, and you just don't have the time to sit down and do it. The way I will bring that to you with just making comparison in a way. 15 years ago, I was single, or sometimes I was engaged, but I didn't have big life responsibilities. I was working. I was working. I had an apartment, but I had lots of free time, and that was, I say 15 years ago because this was a time where I was very busy with my hobbies. I was running 3 games a week. I had a fantasy basic role-playing game. On Tuesday, I had a Star Wars D20 game. On Friday, on Saturday, I was running Star Wars D6. And I think there was another day where I was the player into a D&D 3.0 game, and I had time to take for each one of them, and all my stuff was ready every time. And over that, I'm a musician, and I was playing music with 3 different bands. So we were writing our own stuff. So I was writing songs, and I was very busy with that. And mostly every weekend, Saturday, if I wasn't doing role-playing games, it's because I was doing a show, and sometimes the game was just reported for Sunday. So and I had time to put into that, and I had time to sit down. At one point I was running also a D&D 3.0, and back then, in order to have the game to flow, since it's kind of a crunchy game, so I had to sit down and flip through the pages, revise the rules, reread some stuff, and prepare myself to have a game that flows and that goes in the way I envision it. I was envisioning it in my head. And a little later, I got back to school. I wanted to get a new job. I wanted to change my fields. And going back to school, I had to study. So I had to cut down in everything. And I was down to 1 game a week. I was running. And I was playing and still playing in 1 band. But the game I was running was a D&D 3.0, and I didn't have that much time to prepare, not as much as I would have wanted, and that made me a little uncomfortable. But I was running it for some times, so I was able to keep up with the game even if I didn't take the time I would have wanted to be ready. And then I was engaged more seriously, and I began to have children, a family, a house, and I had to cut down everything. No role-playing games, no music for at least a year and a half. I was totally with my responsibilities, but in my head it was still there. I was still a musician in my head, and I was still a gamer in my heart. And but I didn't have time to sit down to do anything. If I had time to sit down to do something, it was to fall asleep 2 minutes after. So it wasn't that much efficient. But at one point, my fiance said, well, you could get back to gaming, Friday night, 9 p.m. through midnight when the kids are in bed. So I jumped on the occasion to open myself into that time slot. And then I made a mistake. I tried to prepare my games the way I used to. I didn't adjust myself. Well, I didn't know what to expect. I thought that I would be able to prepare the stuff exactly the way I was doing, just with different time arrangements, but it didn't work at all. Really, I was arriving at the game, I wasn't that much prepared. It was half improvised, which is not that much of a bad thing, but the frustration of not getting through what you have in your head. So I had to relearn how to prepare a game and how to see role-playing games in my new situation. That's where I try to find the balance. It's not a perfect balance, but that's where I find it. It's just that I had to cut down everything and be honest with what I can give during these times. So I got back to more simpler games, more rules-like games, and it was a good thing since my favorite game system is a D6 system, so I was already mastering it, and I can master it without using any books at all. So for me, I don't have the need to revise rules or stuff like that. I can sit down and begin to play. And for background creation and writing my adventure, well, if I can get half a page ready before a game, I will be happy with that, and I will improvise with that. It's just having a solid line of stuff you want to put into your adventure and going with it. But yeah, sometimes I want to read some stuff. I have a hard time reading since I fell asleep every time, because my time to read it's late in the evening when everything is done. So yeah, it takes me a lot of time to read a book, well, way more than before. And I run modules. Right now I'm running a modules at my home, at my face-to-face game at home, and it took me lots of time to prepare that module, because I was reading it bit by bit, and I was honest with it. I told my players, when I'll be ready, I will tell you about it. And all the while, I was a player in another game with them. So I like to be the players in those circumstances, because you can have your creative flow with being the player as much as game master. That's what I believe. But the player, you don't have an obligation to deliver your stuff. When you are a game master, you want to prepare your stuff, you want to be ready, you want to be there to deliver. So you always have a deadline, and when you have crazy schedule, it's hard to keep up. But as a player, I like to put stuff into put some work into my character and what I can bring to this game. But it's not an obligation. If I wasn't able to deliver something, it's all right. Our game master doesn't, there's no obligation from his part for us to do that. So yeah, but if I can do it, I will be happy. And so that's how it is. And yeah, when you talk about your significant other, to know if she was supportive of that. In your case, it is. Well, my fiance is a gamer, but not as much as me. So, yeah, sometimes when I put a little more time into gaming, she kind of tells me, well, you could have spent time in more useful things. Yeah, well, maybe, but you know how it is, the creative juice, and it goes by itself. I have a very fresh example. Two examples. I'm a player in the Dark Eye. I'm fortunate enough to be involved in 2 role-playing activity in the week. player in the dark eye, but sometimes I'm the game master, and these times around, I'm running advanced fighting fantasy for the gang. So I think I had 30 minutes of free time to prepare the next session, and it was greatly needed, because in my head it was turning and I was thinking about all the stuff I could do with that adventure, but I had to write something down because I would lose everything. I can just rely on my memory. So so I had 30 minutes, but it was a hard 30 minutes because I was going out from a rushy situation about cleaning the house or something like that. And when I sat down, my mind wasn't clear, and that's often the case when you are very busy. You know, the moment where you can clear your mind. I don't have that much anymore, but I was able to write something up, and when the game arrived, it's all related about the struggle, but I had to call off the game 15 minutes just before, because I couldn't get myself up. I was too tired. Yeah, because we had a big weekend with the family, and I wasn't able to rest. And if it would have been the game where I'm the player, probably I would have been in there. Okay, maybe my participation would have been low, but I would have been able. But when you're a game master, you know all the stuff that you have to think when you are the game master. I just couldn't make it. My brain was just following. I needed to get in bed. Yeah. And unfortunately, it happens, those surge of tiredness. And another example, yesterday with my face-to-face game, we decided to create a side quest where when we miss some players for a game, because sometimes player can't make it to the game, and I have to call off the game, but I want my Friday game, so I propose to the players who are more steady to have a side quest, and we just created something on the fly like that. But this morning my brain was turning, I was ready to write an adventure just with what we had there. So it's a struggle because I couldn't make it. I had stuff to do. Yeah, so when will I be able to sit down and make what I have to? That's a big question. Well, all those stories are related with the struggle we can have when we want to put time into our favorite hobby and we just can't make it. And but we have to be honest with ourselves, trying to find some regular spots where we can work on our game and have our significant other accept those regular schedule, and have them have their own hobbies in the schedule too, so it's equal for everyone and everyone can be happy. That's big advice I can give here, in order to have something, to try to have something to please us at least, and trying to get the best out of it. And just being honest with ourselves. We can't make it, we don't have time, we are too busy. Well, that's the way it is. It's not about abandon, but it's about doing what we can with what we have. Okay, that was quite rambly. I hope you liked it. Well, everyone who's watching this, feel free to comment, ask questions or anything, or like or dislike if you want. So, François Letarte, JDR D30, and up to next time, have as much fun in your life as in your games. Thank you and bye.